take that risk. Just take that little path that might be a bit shaky. I know it's almost conflicting of the whole idea of stability in general, but that's what it is. That is the world that we live in. It is the fact that everything is that shaky right now that you can afford to do that. You can afford to just steer off the path because there's another path right next to it and another one next to that. So I wouldn't say that you're ever limited to anything that you want to do as long as you're doing it for the good of yourself, you know?
Welcome to Platform Z, or Z, whichever you prefer. Join me, Noah Lennon, as I speak with my generation about a range of topics and themes in the present day. Happy New Year, everybody. We made it to 2026. Thank you for tuning in to the 19th episode of the podcast. Today, I'm speaking with a British Togolese South London native. He's a longtime friend of mine as we attended the same secondary school, high school, and fun fact, he was really the first new friend that I made there. He attended the School of Oriental African Sciences in central London, otherwise known as SOAS, for 2 years to study economics and is now working for Nike. Yes, that's how I say it, not Nike, but each to their own, I suppose. He's a bona fide, humble and selfless soul. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Lennox Amindji.
Well, boy, what are you telling me, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. New year, things are looking upwards. What about you?
100%, bro. I'm telling you, it was, okay, not the first day, but the second day. I don't know, I woke up and I just had this weird buzz. I'm really excited.
I love that. Thank you for coming on, Lennox. We're going to be discussing stability today. I suppose we should start by talking about why you wanted to bring this topic onto the podcast, Lennox. What made you want to talk about this?
I think it's quite easy to look around and kind of just accept the world and accept everything that's going on as normal and everything is right, especially going into the new year as well. But I think for the first time in most of humanity's existence, we're going into a place where we don't know what the next 10 years, 20 years, 50 years are going to look like. And that's just thinking on like a world scale. Stability as an idea for people as well, I also think is something that can be spoken about and understood at so many different levels. That it's like, how can you not look at it? How can you not look at what people are going through on a day-to-day basis, how secure people feel in their jobs, in their lives, in their skin, so on and so forth, you know? I think it's just one of them topics that you can really look into and speak about on so many different levels. Why wouldn't you want to, you know?
Yeah, I love how we can make this quite specific, but also very universal. What does it mean to you? Do you feel that you have stability right now? Are you in a position where you feel stable?
Nah, not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. But right, I think that's kind of the beauty of it. Okay, let's say, for instance, working at Nike, right? Thank you, by the way, pronouncing it properly. Nike is actually the Greek goddess of victory. And so the name has been based on that. So anyone who does say Nike, wrong. Do some star jumps. But I think, so working, especially for me as well, definitely gives me that pattern, that routine, which I think can be lost a lot of the times when we're a lot younger. Having like a job and having that bit of security where I got money coming in and I can progress a little bit. That feels good. That feels right. However, on the flip side of that, even though you're working towards these goals, I'm still looking around and I'm like, I might be able to do all of this and it not mean anything. The world is constantly changing at an exponential rate to the point where you just can't keep up. And so, at least for me, I want to say, yeah, in certain aspects of life, 100%. I've definitely got an idea of how I want my life to go and how I want things to be structured. But then coming down to a more human level, if you're talking the mind, if you're talking the body, the soul, also no, simply because, at least for me, like especially like let's say coming into the end of last year, starting into the new year, I feel like I've had like a proper reset where I was living with quite a lot of chaos in mind, quite a lot of chaos in life. I think seeing that and then seeing what the world has got in store for you is easy to almost become hopeless. Dropped an AirPod. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. Are you good?
Chaos. Yeah, I'm good.
Chaos.
But yeah, so trying to find stability is also trying to find some sort of peace of mind, is trying to find a way to look around at all the uncertainty in the world and kind of find your own little bit that you can hold on to and your whole little bit that you can continue through life with, you know?
Wow. So stability is like peace for you in that sense.
Yeah, I think the two can intertwine quite heavily, you know? Of course, you can definitely have one without the other at times, but I don't think that you can ever really feel secure, stable, and just content with what you're doing and where you are if you don't have true peace of mind.
I was going to follow up on that to say, is there a method that you're using? Is there something that you always go to find that peace that you need?
Multiple different ways. I've definitely tried. Multiple different ways. For context, at least since I was like a child, I've never been the best sort of sleeper. So normally people get that time in the day where they come home, they rest, they relax. Nah. When I come home, I'd say 20 of the 24 hours of the day, my mind is on and is racing. So I think, at least for me, it sounds kind of backwards, but keeping busy to an extent to where it's manageable gives me some sort of peace of mind, gives me some sort of structure to be like, hey, nah, you know what? I'm not just doing nothing, but I'm also not just doing things that are unhelpful, that are useless, you know? Obviously, over time, I haven't always done the best things to cope and to maintain like my mind and my mental state. However, it is one of them journeys where you just have to find what works for you and just know that there is always a solution to anything that you're looking for. Just takes a bit of time, you know? It always does.
Wow. Okay, for this next part, we don't have to include it. I feel this is a natural progression, but if you don't want this to be in it, that's fine. I wanted to ask you about SOAS. So, of course, you're now working at Nike, but you didn't complete that degree.
Yeah.
So, for the listeners who may be wondering, like, what happened, would you be able to say a bit more about your decision making behind that and what made you do that in the end?
100%. Two answers to it, right? The simple answer, I was on holiday in Morocco over the summer. And I woke up one morning and went to go have a little swim. Came back, ate food with the family, so on and so on. Sitting there and I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Nah, I think I'm done. I think I've done my 2 years. I've served my time. I think I need to go. And it was just as simple as that, where I had sent through the little paper. And I was like, look, I'm withdrawing, taking all my stuff out. Within a few days, it was done. Told my parents at the end of the week, and I didn't know what sort of reaction I was going to expect, but I spoke to my dad about it first. And for any of you who don't know, my dad is like, he's the man in my life. Like, I love that guy. He's nuts, but amazing, right? And I spoke to him, and when I spoke to him, I had just this full-on weight lifted off my shoulders. And again, that's what I'm saying with that whole peace of mind and the stability. Even though I was in a situation where at the time, I'd only just started a job and just started at part-time. I didn't have anything else to back onto. But in my mind, I knew that I was there. I knew, okay, I think I've got a set goal. I think I've got something I can set towards, because uni, as good as it was, as fun as it wasn't my environment. And I knew that if I continued there and if I stayed there, I would have ruined a lot more things than any sort of good that was going to come my way. And so I was like, nah, it has to go. It has to go, you know?
What would you say to the people that maybe were in your position in a college, university, higher education institution that feel they were lacking that stability and were struggling with it mentally? What would your advice be to those people?
Definitely don't complete 2 years and drop out, because you got 1 year left. Nah, but for real, I'd say there is no decision at any time that is going to be a bad decision if you know it's for the good of yourself. I could have easily said, yeah, let me just stick it out for the last year, because realistically, it's probably what I should have done. All that money's gone, all that time's gone, everything. However, I try and look at life as whatever day comes and whatever's coming your way, you're always learning something from it. It's as simple as that. You can't get about the day without learning something new. And so, at least for yourself, take that risk. Just take that little path that might be a bit shaky. I know it's almost conflicting of the whole idea of stability in general, but that's what it is. That is the world that we live in. It is the fact that everything is that shaky right now that you can afford to do that. You can afford to just steer off the path because there's another path right next to it and another one next to that. But I wouldn't say that you're ever limited to anything that you want to do as long as you're doing it for the good of yourself, you know?
Wow. So stability is also about this risk-taking. It's sort of this chase in a way. You're chasing the stability in a world that's so unstable.
Yeah, it does contradict quite a lot. It's like to do right, you've got to do wrong, or you have to know wrong. You know? Like, you have to see the chaos to try and find some sort of order. Otherwise, or you're just sort of going about the motions and nothing's really changing, nothing's different. If you're going to save for that house, if you're going to grind for that house, if you're going to be working them long hours, if you're going to be studying, if it's whatever you're doing that for the pursuit of that independence, why would you treat anything else in life as different? Why would you just assume that independence just comes? It doesn't. It doesn't. It comes from learning. It comes from growing. It comes from seeing the world, you know? And so I think, yeah, it is a pursuit, especially for me. I know I've been on a journey to try find some sort of peace of mind for as long as I can remember, simply because I don't know what it feels like to have it. And so I feel like I don't know any different. But the more that I see of the world, the more I realize, you know what? No, I can make changes. I can do different things to hopefully bring me a bit closer to the goal. It doesn't mean that you should look at every point in your life and be like, nah, okay, I need to start doing something else and something else. Nah, hold on to the things that you've got and hold on to the things that you're doing. I'd always say, you know, try put your effort into anything that you are doing, simply because that gets the goal as well. However, if it goes left, if it goes the other way, it's really no bother.
The growth is incredible, bro. Honestly. Just the way you speak about things is so present. That's what I love.
Yeah, it's just because it just feels like day-to-day life for me, you know? It is almost like two different worlds that you're living in, to the point where one side, you know, you're doing everything you're supposed to, and you feel like you're doing everything right. You feel like you're going, you're working hard, so on and so forth. And then on the other side, you realize, nah, there is a whole whirlwind of messes going on. There's always the two different sides to it. Once you realize that properly, and once you see that, then you can start to organize yourself, start to bring yourself together in a way where you're not living in these two separate worlds anymore. You know how to twine it together.
Lennox, what would your message be, or what would your idea of stability be in the world today? How can we create a more stable world with everything going on?
I'd say, at least for a macro level, I mean, is always going to be the obvious of just working to get closer so the world is all right in terms of trying to stop things like hunger, poverty, wars, racism, and just trying to create a world where people are just fully accepting of each other and people can kind of understand that, yeah, you know what, the world is different. I'm not always going to like this. I'm not always going to like that. But once people can accept that they've got these likes and dislikes for the world and just move on, I think at least from a macro point of view, we will start to go in the right direction, because then we can actually come together to do the things that are actually important. On more of a personal level, for someone looking for their own stability, I'm nowhere close. However, in some ways, it doesn't worry me anymore. Ultimately, I've got time. I've got time to figure out and find a way to just be at peace. And so I think that already, if you try and keep that mindset, even if everything else around you is nuts, that little bit there is your kind of your own little bit of peace, you know, to know that I'm going to be all right. Even when I'm not, I'm going to be all right.
Yeah, that's how we finish. Incredible.
Yeah. Hey, I want to say one thing as well, because you know what I've realized? Through all these intros, right? No one's given you an introduction, so we're gonna give you an outro. Okay. So
wait. Oh, okay.
We're gonna give you an outro. So to my boy Noah, right? My first friend in year 7, like you said, the story isn't true. Remember, it was like first couple of days. We went around the school. We just went on this little walk. Just two 11-year-olds just chatting rubbish, right? But never in a million years would I have thought that over time we would really grow and become the people that we have. And over time, whether we've been in contact, whether we've not been in contact, this brother has always been a genius, and he's always been someone that can bring ideas and bring thoughts together out of nothing. And so, to flip it on you, thank you for being here. Honestly, man. Honestly, is appreciated.
Oh, man. It's getting emotional. Wow. That's received. Thank you so much, brother. Honestly.
My boy, of course.
You inspire me. Platform Z, quickfire questions. Are you ready, Lennox?
Always.
Let's go. What was the most recent thing that inspired you?
The most recent thing that inspired me? You know what? It was a Bible verse, actually. And I'm not I wouldn't say I'm a religious man, but growing up, my parents taught me a lot of parts of religion and a lot of parts of Christianity. There was something my dad was talking about, and I don't remember the exact quote, but the message behind it was always that wherever you leave, wherever you go, wherever you're moving to, you have to continue. You have to keep on moving forward. You've left something for a reason. You've put something behind you for a reason. You've escaped the dirt, the mud, wherever you're coming from. Keep on going forward. Don't turn back for anything, because that's where you run that risk of losing. Keep on going forward. And eventually, when you continue on that journey, you'll be rewarded and you'll be taken care of.
Oof. Yeah. Amazing.
Thank you.
What is your goal for this month?
Okay, 2. One which came up literally yesterday, which is getting a train ticket to Paris. I want to go see my baby cousin. It's been a while since I've seen my cousin as well, but the family tree of that is just long to explain. So we're going to call them both my cousins. So yeah, I really want to see them. Definitely want to go. And I'd say for this month especially, I want to find a new hobby. Kind of just look into something completely brand new, something completely left.
Man, that's amazing. I love that.
Thank you.
What's one bad habit that you need to get rid of?
Smoking. Straight up. I ain't gonna lie, I got a cigarette in my hand right now. Others, bad habit of mine, if I start doing something, right, let's say an activity or something, I'm working on something, right? I know exactly what I'm doing. And for me, at times, if I feel like it takes too long to explain what I'm doing to someone so they can help, I'll just do it myself. And then it will bug me when someone tries to help, even though I haven't explained to them what they can do. So I need to just be like, yo, you know what? Take that time, really give the time to people so they can do things and learn. If I'm preaching and saying I've got the time to do things, I don't need to try and rush through to get everything done. So give that time, take that time,
What does joy look like to you?
I think just smiles and laughs. I know it's very face value, of course, but even just sitting in a room with your family, just cracking up and talking the most random stuff, right? I think that alone, I get such a warm feeling in my heart. I'm like, you know what? This is it. I'm not bothered about anything else. When I find that moment where nothing else matters and I've just got smiles on my face, I know that I'm happy,
Ooh, that's a great answer. When have you felt the most love?
I don't think I would say I've ever felt the most love, simply because it definitely comes in different forms and shapes with different people. I felt love through relationships. I felt love through family, friends, work, uni. I felt love in so many different aspects of my life, but I'd say to pinpoint one down, I guess it's probably, I went on holiday a few years ago. It was the first one that I probably paid for myself. I worked most through my summer, I saved and I got to that holiday and I sat down, I looked, I was like, wow, you've done so well for yourself. And I wouldn't call it love, but just true appreciation. I was like, wow, you're all right, you're a decent one. And I said that to myself out loud. I talk to myself a crap ton, and I mean full on conversations. But when I do, there are times where you kind of just, when you hear it out loud, is them feelings there. I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm sweet. I'm good,
I talk to myself too. I feel that, you know. For me, it's
Has to
like
be done.
you got to connect the different parts of yourself. Sometimes one voice
exactly.
is saying that, and then the other voice is saying that. I got to just make sure I'm normal, make sure I'm sane.
Voila. Exactly. It's necessary, bro.
Come on, man. That's beautiful. Final question. What's the one thing you'd change in today's society?
TFL, bro. TFL, these men take too much money from me. They take
And
too
next
much
year,
money from me.
it's going up. Next year, this year it's going up. I've heard. There's an increase this year.
Because they
Promise you, bro. That's not a lie.
Congestion charge is supposed to drop the prices, but now the price, it costs me like $2 to get to work minimum, like every month. It's a killer. Yeah, TFL, for real though, like if there's some sort of way to make travel and access to travel actually free and make public transport available to all of the public like it's intended to, I will go with that. Because even just me paying £200 a month, let's say people who might only be working on a part-time job, international students who have only got like 20-hour contracts because they can't work anymore, then they've also got to get to uni through the week. There's so many different factors that makes public transport not as public as it should be.
Oof. Yeah, man, that's a huge one. It's a huge one. I'm so glad you brought that up because the fact that it's actually going up this year is crazy. It's already the number one most expensive public transport in Europe.
In London fashion, right? In London fashion. I was watching some video while I was in the shower or something. It was like, the London, because obviously London kind of just evolved and grew out. It was never truly built as a city, right? And so when all the tubes and that were designed, they were constructed so perfectly around the city that it's meant that even to this day, we've still got one of the most efficient networks of tubes and that across the world.
True. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Lennox, for your time, for joining me today on this episode. It's been an honor and a pleasure. Please take a moment now to tell the listeners where they can find you, what you've got going on. Talk to them.
All right. Whoa, what I've got going on. Come visit Nike Oxford Circus, 100%. I definitely need that bonus next month. So the more you lot buy, the more you help me. I guess to speak to everyone is just keep on going. That's the best advice I can give and the best thing I can say. Just keep it stepping, keep it moving. Everything finds its way to work and everything finds its way to move. You just have to know how to push it and have the strength to push it. And when you can do that, you ain't going to stop, are you? You want to find me? Where can you find me?
Wherever you want.
Nah, don't worry about where you can find me. Nah, I'm joking. Instagram, mainly. I don't really use too much else. So, Togo King 83, something like that.
Link down below as well.
Link down below. Yeah. We'll get you to sort that one out for me. Thank you, brother.
Of course. Thank you, Lennox. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great day. Take care. Goodbye.
See you all.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.